Listen closely, because the landscape in Cleveland is shifting under our feet. We are witnessing a flurry of activity that defies conventional logic and forces us to reconsider the ceiling for our team. From the trenches to the secondary, the front office is making moves that scream urgency. There is no room for hesitation when the goal is a championship. And today, we are breaking down the seismic changes that have left the entire league buzzing. The blueprint is being rewritten in real time, and the implications for our future are massive. Stay locked in.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us be crystal clear about what is happening right now in the front office. The Cleveland Browns have just pulled the trigger on a move that has sent shockwaves through the entire National Football League. We are talking about a $50 million investment to replace a staple of our offensive line. When you look at the commitment made to bring in this new talent, you have to ask yourself, what is the end game here? Wyatt Teller has been a warrior in the trenches, a man who has anchored our interior blocking schemes with a level of ferocity that we have all come to admire. But the reality of this professional league is that sentimentality often takes a back seat to cold, hard, calculated strategy. The front office decided that they needed a different look, a different profile, or perhaps they simply believed that this new acquisition provided a higher ceiling for our blocking efficiency. This is a massive gamble, plain and simple. You do not hand out that kind of capital unless you are convinced that the upgrade is immediate and undeniable. I am looking at the numbers, I am looking at the scheme fit, and I am telling you, this is a direct challenge to the status quo. If you think this is just a depth move, you are sorely mistaken. This is a statement of intent that echoes throughout the locker room. The organization is signaling that nobody, and I mean nobody, is untouchable when the pursuit of excellence is on the line. We are talking about replacing a known commodity with a player who carries a massive price tag and even higher expectations. The pressure on this new arrival is going to be immense from the very first snap of training camp. He has to step in, learn the playbook, and immediately prove that the front office was right to move on from a proven veteran. It is a high-stakes game of chess, and for the fans watching at home, it raises a critical question. Is this the upgrade that finally puts us over the top, or is it a disruption of the chemistry that we worked so hard to build in the trenches? We have seen teams make these massive investments before, only to watch them crumble under the weight of unrealistic expectations. However, if this pays off, it could be the cornerstone of an offensive identity that dominates the line of scrimmage for years to come. The intensity, the focus, and the sheer audacity of this move are exactly what you would expect from a franchise that is tired of playing second fiddle. But wait. Because as one door opens, another one slams shut in a way that will leave you absolutely breathless and questioning the very soul of this defense. Are you ready for what comes next?
If you want to keep getting exclusive insights like this, subscribe now. Do not miss a single update as we track every single move our team makes in this wild, unpredictable, and explosive NFL offseason.
Stop everything you are doing and pay attention, because this is a gut punch that nobody saw coming. We just watched a defensive cornerstone, a guy who registered 125 tackles last season, walk out the door and sign with the Chicago Bears. Let me tell you, as someone who watches every single snap, this is a devastating blow to the heart of our defense. We are talking about a player who was the glue, a relentless pursuit machine who possessed the rare ability to be everywhere on the field at once. To let a talent like that slip away in free agency is frankly a massive failure of asset management. You cannot simply plug and play a guy who brings that level of production, that level of energy, and that level of football intelligence to the second level of the defense. It is an absolute travesty. When you look at the tape, you see a player who was the heartbeat of our defensive identity, someone who made the plays that kept us in games when the offense was struggling. Losing him to the Chicago Bears is not just a statistical loss, it is a psychological one. It signals to the rest of the league that we are vulnerable in the middle of the field. What in the world is the strategy here? You invest heavily in the offensive line, as we just discussed, but then you turn around and allow a cornerstone of your defensive unit to walk out the front door? That is not how you build a championship caliber roster. You are robbing Peter to pay Paul, and I'm telling you right now, this is going to hurt when the season starts. The defensive coordinator is going to have a nightmare on his hands trying to fill that massive void in the rotation. You cannot teach instinct, and you cannot teach the kind of sideline-to-sideline speed that we just let walk away for absolutely nothing. The fans have every right to be furious. This is the kind of move that sets a team back, regardless of how much money you throw at other positions. We are supposed to be building a powerhouse, but instead we are watching key contributors leave in their prime. It is inexcusable. The management needs to answer for this, because if they think they can replace that kind of production with a bargain bin free agent or a rookie, they are living in a fantasy world. The defensive identity of this team has just taken a serious hit, and the ripple effects are going to be felt throughout the entire season. I'm sitting here shaking my head wondering how we let this happen. But if you think that is bad, just wait until you hear about the next move. It hits even closer to home and might just signal the end of an era for a true franchise legend.
The tectonic plates are shifting, and the fallout is going to be felt by every single fan who has bled for this team over the last decade. We just witnessed the signing of a starting guard in a move that is being whispered around the league as the potential end of the road for Joel Bitonio. Let that sink in. We are talking about one of the most respected, decorated, and loyal soldiers in the history of our franchise. If this signing signals that his time has come to an end, it is an absolute tragedy of professional sports. Joel Bitonio is the embodiment of what it means to wear the jersey, a man who has stood tall through the darkest seasons and carried the weight of the organization on his shoulders. To even contemplate a transition that pushes him aside is a move that reeks of cold-blooded desperation. I have seen many things in my years covering this league, but the way we are treating our legends is starting to leave a sour taste in my mouth. You cannot quantify leadership, and you certainly cannot replace the institutional knowledge that a player of his caliber brings to the locker room. This new guard better be prepared to walk on water, because he is walking into a situation where the shadow of a giant looms over everything he does. The front office is gambling their reputation on these new faces, and if they think they can just discard a cornerstone like him without creating a massive vacuum in the culture of this team, they are fundamentally misunderstanding the heartbeat of our city. It is personal, it is professional, and it is absolutely ruthless. We are watching a total teardown and rebuild of the interior line, and the casualties are piling up. First, we lose the defensive intensity, and now we are potentially watching the sunset of a legend. This is the price of winning, they will tell you, but at what cost? When you strip away the history, the loyalty, and grit that built this foundation, you are left with a collection of mercenaries who do not have the same skin in the game. I am disgusted by the lack of respect shown here. If this is truly the end for him, the organization owes it to the fans to explain exactly why this was necessary. Are we building a team for the future, or are we just throwing darts at a board and hoping something sticks? The tension in the front office must be palpable, because these are not just moves. These are defining moments that will either cement this management team as geniuses or brand them as the people who broke the spirit of the franchise. The clock is ticking, and the pressure is mounting. We are at a crossroads, and every single decision from here on out is magnified tenfold.
This is a pivotal moment in the history of our team. We are seeing a complete transformation, and honestly, it is leaving us all with more questions than answers. The departure of key leaders and the high-stakes gamble on new personnel have created a volatile environment that we are going to be tracking every step of the way. We want to hear from you. Does this bold strategy give you hope for a championship, or are you terrified that we are dismantling our identity for nothing? Drop your comments below and let us know where you stand on these massive roster changes. We are in this together, and we will be here to hold them accountable. Until next time, stay tuned for more exclusive updates.